Well, hey, listen, thank you very much for your time. I really
Oh,
appreciate you kind of starting early and jumping in. I really appreciated our session a couple of weeks ago as well. Just kind of
excellent.
getting a feel for it, what you guys do, and you guys have been on a pretty exciting journey already with Qbic.
Uh,
So
we have.
your
It's been and
your insights
it's
are
been a
very
quite a
valuable.
long one. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
uh,
So could you
so
just share a little bit for the people watching? Tell us about Door Tablet. What problem were you solving for organization with Door Tablet, and what is your role as founder and CTO? What does that look like?
um, okay. It's a good question because it actually started much simpler than what it is today. The first challenge was to provide visibility. People just did not know what's going on. So the visibility, the immediate solution was to put something outside meeting rooms so people know what's going on. They know
Mm,
if a space is taken or not, and what's going on for the rest of the day. So
yep.
people can plan, maybe book, do something interactively with the devices. So that was the first challenge. Oh, if you like, that was kind of the reaction to a problem. Okay,
Right.
tell us what's going on.
Yep.
Of course, over time, things have changed. The demand has grown, and the objectives have somehow changed as well. And by objectives, I mean, going beyond visibility, but rather change the behavior around meetings, let alone meeting rooms. And the impact on organization is actually quite significant.
Mm.
Uh, you know, People are always complaining, oh, another meeting. Everybody just keep on jabbing, talking, and you know, nothing really achieved. Um, but in fact, things could be achieved if you get yourself organized a little bit. If
Yeah.
you have an
Yep.
agenda for a meeting, that's
That's a good
that's a
idea.
good start. Okay, if you're clear on your goals for the meeting, that's another improvement. So we found ourselves considering these challenges and all the time working to support organizations that use our software. Obviously implemented on display hardware, and in this case it's Qbic. Help them to indeed achieve better quality of meetings, better utilization of their spaces, and so on. So that kind of how kind of the objectives have transformed
Yep.
over the years. And of course, one should not forget we had COVID in the middle.
Yes.
That that through another collection of changes and objectives, and again how we respond to that. Um, you know, um, it just manifest on our website, new products, new services, new solutions. And that has actually been going literally repeatedly, I could say persistently over the last 12 years
Mm.
since Door Tablet was born.
Yep.
I mean, the impact on me personally, it was just one long string of creativity. And I don't think we are done yet. And generally in
Cool.
the industry, there's quite a lot still to come.
Yeah.
And of course, if you can work on a platform that you can trust, and I'm talking about in this case hardware, the operating system, generally the environment, then your creativity can take hold, and you can continue and deliver.
Yeah.
This
One
is
less thing
why
to worry about, right?
I'm sorry.
One less thing to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting. Maybe I shouldn't jump all over the place with thoughts and
No, it's great.
ideas,
It's
but
good. Yeah.
in terms of customer experiences, uh, y- you kind of discover sometimes that your customers have become dependent on the product you sold them, and you sometimes don't even realize how dependent they are,
Mm.
to the depth of their dependence, and not in a negative way. It's just because they're exploiting it. they're getting what the value of it, and they want to continue and exploit it. And any interruption to that is unwelcome. Okay, so
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what we see
Yeah.
generally.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So you've said obviously multiple times there that you've been with Qbic for a long time. Tell us, how
Yeah.
did that partnership start, and what made you choose Qbic over perhaps another Android panel manufacturer?
Okay, well, let me tell you. First of all, we did not choose Qbic. They chose us, and it was bang at the right time. If I can just kind of take us back just 11 years, if you like, a year before we met Qbic,
Okay.
we were delivering our solution on tablets from Samsung. There were some Apple tablets, etc., and it was a mess. It was really, really painful. You had to
Yep.
get enclosures, you had to put them in, you had to secure them. It didn't work well either. I mean, the program ran, but after a few hours of usage, those machines got hot, and
Right.
clients had to reduce the screen brightness to 50%. It just became very, very difficult. So one day we get an email from a Chinese sounding gentleman, sending us a message to say, we found you on the web, and we think we can offer you a hardware platform that could transform the way you work. So
Wow.
obviously got our attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the
Um,
timing.
they were very, very forthcoming and say, yeah, no problem. We'll send you one of our devices. We want sorry, I keep on kicking this off. I'm not used to this normally.
Yeah.
Uh, to this kind of setup. Anyway, so basically they sent us a device, and uh, what became immediately obvious, well, first of all, the quality. And we're talking about devices from 10 years ago.
Mm.
Okay, the quality and what was key in those devices is something that actually they did not have. They did not have the battery. Well, of course,
Right.
everybody has a CMOS battery, but did not have the battery that you will find in all tablets.
Yep.
And we always said that the Achilles heel of these solutions was actually the battery, because it gets hot. You need the power supply. It's a nightmare basically, and of course their device did not have a battery. You had to connect it to PoE or to local power supply. The device remains cool. I mean, not cool looking. I mean, actually temperature cool.
Yeah.
and it just worked. It just worked. Okay, so in fact, we started with an app on the iPads. Of course, that was
Yep.
the emergence of tablets, a strong kind of emergence, and we were lucky enough to architect our endpoint software in such a way that we can, in parallel, release our product simultaneously, pretty much, as native apps for iOS, Android, and believe it or not, Windows. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
We kind of got off Windows since then, uh, but we were able to run our software pretty quickly on the Qbic machines. And further than that, they had an API that was very easy to use. And they're still in use to this date, which is obviously a REST API. Basically, it's another layer between our software and the hardware that runs a kind of a mini web server that hides all the intricacies of the hardware, and we can make calls from our JavaScript code to basically do all the things that this API offers. And
Mm.
what we also found very useful is how Qbic reacted to ideas that we floated to them.
Yep.
And that was very encouraging. They didn't just say, "Well, yeah, good idea." Okay, they
Leave it at
actually
that.
they actually asked us to be very specific about our ideas. We shared the information. A few days later, they came back and said, well, sounds good. We'll implement it in line with your specification, and we'll guide you as to how you can implement that.
Yeah. I mean, that's perfectly transitions into my next question, because that was something that I picked up on our last call. You've suggested a change to a manufacturer and they've actually implemented it, which seems like true partnership to me. Like that's really cool. Is there a specific example that you could share that happened? You asked them to implement something and then they implemented it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We were always very keen on, the cost of ownership of a system. And basically, we're looking at post-deployment. What happens after you deploy a system? Because when you onboard your infrastructure, before you actually put things in place, you obviously install everything, so everything is very convenient. It's on a big table. You install everything is good. Okay, then you go and you put it on the wall, and then 3 months later you need to do an update.
Yeah.
What kind of it doesn't matter what kind of update.
Yeah.
You need to do an update. Well, what do you do? So okay, you go around with your USB stick and you go to every machine, you plug it in and reinstall the app.
Yeah.
And we said, well, we don't think it's a good idea. We wanted everything to happen over over the LAN.
Yeah.
Okay, or over the air, as some people call it. And we specified this. We, came up with some ideas. So we'll generate an XML file that actually be a descriptor to a new version of the app. And you can specify in the Qbic device, you specify where is this XML file is. Okay, and on a regular basis, the operating system or the Qbic software on the device will check if there's something new. And if there's something new, it'll go and update it. But most importantly, because we came from the on-prem solution, so it's interesting, a lot of people evolved in their solution from cloud, and some even been forced to move to on-prem. For us, it was always on-prem because we wanted to be different. We wanted to have a USP. So we started from on-prem, and then we always knew that we need to go cloud. I mean, we were a cloud in terms of our organizational infrastructure 15 years before we spoke to Qbic. Okay,
Wow.
actually,
Yeah.
in 1998, we were on the cloud already. Okay,
Yeah.
1998. Okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So, about 28 years. So we wanted these kind of updates to also work inside the organizational network behind the firewall, so without dependency
Yeah. Yeah.
on some big platform on the cloud.
Yeah.
Um, so the solution that we came up with and that Qbic implemented, which is still working to this day, is the ability to update both firmware and application level APKs, over the network on the local LAN without going to the outside world.
Wow.
And it works brilliantly. Now we know that our competitors are using that as well. Well, we know
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do have competitors. They're not as good as us, but it doesn't matter. Okay,
No, of course.
it's a big world,
It's a
and
big
there's
world.
there's
Yeah.
there's a room for a lot of people to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just one example. Another example, and I'll be quick on that one. We were always also keen on energy consumption or reduction of consumption. So we asked Qbic to be able to turn off the devices at certain times, and obviously turn them back on. Uh, and then we also requested that there will be days that the devices will be off the whole day,
The whole day.
not
Yeah.
just between hours. And again, they implemented that. Now, these things have happened in the first year of our engagement with Qbic. Over the years, we've had more and more ideas, sometimes small, sometimes bigger, and uh, we had great results.
Cool.
So over the years, the system continued to evolve in the same way that our software continued to evolve. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's important, right? You evolve with your manufacturer, and you evolve
well, most
together. Yeah.
importantly, we evolve with the market. We evolve with the times.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
I hope that gives you some,
Yeah,
understandable
very cool.
examples.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
cool. Thank you very much. Yeah. So you're obviously a very technical guy. From a technical point of view, what makes Qbic hardware particularly well suited for running your software? And are there specific features that matter and when you're choosing a hardware platform and don't matter as much?
Yeah, so it's a mixture of both technical and commercial facts. So from a technical perspective, um, to us, the most important feature is durability. Can you install and forget?
Yeah.
And with Qbic, it is possible. The other thing is you do not have to deploy an MDM to manage your
Okay.
devices. Okay, because there is a rich API, and provided that the software that you run on it can support MDM-like features, such as rebooting a device or changing the time zone, things like this. In our environment, if you like, in our combined environment, you could do this without MDM. Okay, and also architecturally, our devices, or if you like, our software that runs on the Qbic devices, um, they don't have to be visible externally. So you don't have to see the devices from the outside. You can basically set them to operate or send them to do things um, remotely from outside the network.
Yeah.
And if you like, piggyback on their calls to um, uh, uh, to get schedules. And our system at that time said, oh, I need to make some environmental changes. So the idea here again is the device and our software runs on top of it can actually work independently, asking a central database to provide its instructions and then performs them internally.
Okay.
So from a security perspective, that's powerful
Yeah.
because the devices and the network itself do not have to be visible to somebody from the outside,
Yeah.
admins that control the system.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
No, that's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. What was
Awesome.
the second? You had the second part to your question.
Well, is there specific
Commercially,
features that matter
yeah.
for your software? Yeah.
Well, so in the core of these features is the Qbic API.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're leveraging it fully.
Yeah.
Okay. On the commercial side, is of course the prices, costs, compared to to other vendors, better value for money, um, and also we've established a supply mechanism that is very efficient. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to go to some other brands, in order to get the hardware, you have to go to their distribution channels. You have to basically do a lot of somersaults before you can place an order.
Yeah.
Um, and with Qbic, it's just easy. Everything is just easy. Okay, I mean, you probably know that already.
Yeah,
You've spoken with that.
very
Okay,
responsive. Yeah,
very responsive, very easy, and they're prepared to do things in a different way. Basically in a way that suits you.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
as either as a system integrator or as a distributor. In our case, as a solution vendor, we have a deploy. We just did another deployment in the US, and it was just so easy to say, "Hey, Qbic, can you send 27 devices to West Virginia?"
yeah,
They got there. They were pre-configured, pre-installed. No go-betweens, no third party over third party over the third party that will do X, Y, Z. No,
yeah.
none of that.
No,
Very clean, very simple, and
yeah,
it works.
yeah.
So,
It's hard. It's hard to argue with something when it works so well, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah. Cool. So in terms of deployment scale, you just mentioned um, a little job that you guys have done there in the US. Is there a single deployment that you've done in the last 10 years with Qbic that stands out? That's your like your go-to
yeah,
when you're proud
that's
of what you've done.
that's interesting because okay, so I can't name
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
clients
Yeah.
that I will mention. Uh, Actually, I can probably name one. So the first one is actually a big one. It's really interesting. It started with a POC of 12 devices, and it grew to 740 meeting rooms. Okay.
Wow,
Of
cool.
course, these things do not happen overnight.
No.
They bought, the POC. They actually rolled it in the UK. But what was interesting about that is that the company in question here, they are, in the chip making business. So
Okay.
they are a technology company.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not an insurance firm or bank or something like this. They're a technology company
Yeah.
that valued what we've done.
Yeah.
They understood
Interesting.
what we've done, and they rolled it. Obviously 750, 740 or thereabout is a global deployment, worldwide deployment.
Yeah.
Okay, with some country exceptions, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Um, so that was an interesting one. Another one, which is actually a gaming company that had used our software on Samsung devices, Samsung Galaxy Tabs.
Okay.
Um they were always very keen on the way things look. Okay, so for
Yeah.
them, the visuals was very important,
Yeah.
and they even got a company to manufacture specifically for them their designed kind of enclosures for
Oh my gosh. Wow.
the Galaxy Tabs. Okay, we visited their French office, and we looked at it and said, "Oh, it's so beautiful." Problem was that it didn't work very well because of the Samsung devices.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and basically, around 5 years ago, they felt that it's time to move on from
Yeah.
their investment in that kind of infrastructure. They bought from us the Qbic TD1050. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yep.
The kind of round corners with a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
lovely LED in the front.
Yeah.
And when we asked them, so how is life now? He said, we finally have peace. We have peace. I mean, that's so. How about world peace? Can you help with that?
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
So, that's a statement that says it all.
Yeah.
And maybe a final one is, and in this case, I will mention a company name. Um, this was a very, if you like, very difficult to get in because of stringent security requirements. And bottom line was that after a year and 4 months, yeah, I know it's taken a long
Wow.
time from the first engagement, we got in, we got approved, and this was delivered to a subsidiary of Disney. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
Door Tablet now is an approved Disney product.
Oh,
When we ask them for free tickets to the parks, one of the people say, "You can't get that, but I'll
yeah,
give you
yeah.
mine."
Oh, cool.
So I have an invitation now, and to go to Disney in Tokyo. No way I'm going to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that.
Wow.
There's more better things to do in Tokyo than to go to
To go to Disney.
a pure American culture
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing. But it was in there. We had to provide Qbic hardware, our software, our backend systems. Everything went through some vigorous validation, on the security front. Jamie, if you just saw the spreadsheets that we had to fill in,
Oh,
you'll get
yeah.
goosebumps just to go through that.
I can't
Okay,
imagine. Yeah.
but we thought it was worthwhile.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
Well, I
it's
mean, now you've done it and you've got that to
yeah,
your name, what a cool thing to have.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah. Anyway, so I gave you some examples.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. An interesting one for me is the fact that Qbic's obviously software agnostic, so it works with a lot of different software platforms. From a software partner perspective, how do you think that that benefits the end user?
Um, well, first of all, from our perspective, we believe it's a big world and there's room for a lot of players. In our mind, the fact that our competitors also buy Qbic and compete with us, it's almost a vindication of our early
Your work.
choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they are leveraging, features that we have labored on and requested and got in, we're happy with that. As I always say, it's a big world. Okay,
Yeah.
so it doesn't bother us that our competitors are using Qbic. In fact, we like it, okay, because we know that it continues to propel the product. The product gets improved all the time, and we benefit from it. So,
Yeah.
other people, issues, when they get resolved, we benefit.
That's
So,
good for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Um, this is an interesting kind of thought because I've been doing this for a month. And obviously a lot of people install the same thing. A lot of
Yeah,
integrators will just go in and install exactly the same thing. And anyone watching this, and you will know as well exactly what that is.
yeah.
What do you think in your mind integrators might be getting wrong when they're just copy and pasting the same thing time after time from your perspective, from someone who's doing something that's different and unique?
Yeah. Um, okay. I think it really starts with the end user. I think installers need to think and work very closely with the end user to make sure that when they deploy a solution, that it does in fact support the end user's business.
Mm,
And not just, oh, we want signage outside the meeting rooms because they're a mess and we need this to be sorted out. Okay,
yeah,
can you just splash something there by the door? Okay. Um, I mean, we know of cases where things like this have happened. Actually, quite a few cases that the end user hate the solution, actually doesn't use it
yeah,
because there has not been enough work carried out on how this would actually support the business
yeah,
and how it matches the user or the end customer objectives. And
yeah,
if you ignore these things, if you don't work closely with the end users, uh, eventually they'll stop using the
Mm,
system, and you'll find it very difficult to do upselling. It's just bad news. Okay,
yeah.
so I would say yes, there are a lot of solutions out there. A lot of them do the red and green status of a meeting room, but it's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. Now
Yeah.
it has become a nonsense. I mean, 10 years ago, yes, to know if a space is busy or not, yeah, was critical. But guess what? Well, since then, a lot of companies rejigged their offices, and guess what? They now have glass walls, so you
Glass
can
walls,
actually
yeah.
see. You can actually see if there are people there. So where do you go from here? Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so what I would say in summary on this point is work closely with the end users,
Yep.
understand their business, implement a solution that can meet their objectives, and take it even beyond. Help them re-engineer the way they work. We've had many cases that say, "Oh yeah, no, we don't want any booking from the tablet. If you want to book a room, you'll go to some reception function, and you'll ask if you can have this room, and then they'll book it."
Right.
No, no. That's we can provide you with an opportunity to re-engineer your processes to become more efficient,
Yeah.
more dynamic, and more in line with modern processes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our solution allows that kind of delegation. And
Mm,
in fact, you can probably get your return on investment by implementing it correctly and diverting resources to do more productive things
yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than, oh, book a meeting room that is empty. Oh, really? I can see it's empty.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't need to tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Um, Something that I have been interested in is how things have changed since COVID and things like that. And I'm kind of using that as a way to talk about the future because I've kind of come
Mhm.
back to AV after like 7 years, and things are a bit different, obviously. So
Yeah,
what are you guys doing at Door Tablet, kind of in collaboration with Qbic, to kind of look into the future a little bit and
yeah. Well, we
prepare
we
as you can for what's
yeah,
happening and
sure,
what might need to
sure.
change?
Well, obviously, we look at the whole workspace as kind of holistically, and we recognize, like many other people recognize, that people don't come to the office just to meet or just to work in their cubicles. They need to interact. They need the whole experience to be as seamless as possible. So we've been working with Qbic on implementing our applications on top of other types of devices. So it's not just the 10-inch device that you'll find outside meeting rooms, but it's also wayfinders. You know what I mean by that? The
Yep.
kind of bigger
The big,
screens, some of
yeah,
them
yeah,
touch, some not touch. Use them as kiosks so you can provide additional service, upon entry to a floor or to a building. Um, perform other functions, and of course, not forgetting the hot desking.
yep,
When
yeah,
you again get into the post COVID era, and people starting to well, when people started to come back to the offices, you had challenges such as, okay, how do you manage desks, and how you interact with people that do arrive to a desk. Is it their desk, somebody else's desk? Did they book it? Do they have to check in?
yeah, yeah.
All these kind of things. And Cubic offers some really nice hardware in that area. But if you ask me, is this the final chapter? It's not. It's not the
No,
final chapter.
yeah,
And there's more and more automation that we're working. I'll give you an example. We're just inherently lazy. right? So we want to automate everything.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is when you come to the office and in a hot desking environment, you put your laptop. Of course, what do you need? You need power, you need networking, and you don't want somebody to sit and tap on your shoulder and say, "Hey, it's my desk." Okay,
Yeah.
so we are automating the whole process of connecting in the office. Okay, where without too much fuss and bother, we get identified and the cubic system tells us, yeah, well, good morning, but that's not your desk,
Yeah.
okay? Or good morning, well, actually, it's free, but mind you, you booked another desk, by the window. Why aren't you there?
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, okay. So, and these things are, you know, they're coming in now. Okay, these are kind of present activities because if you think about it, having equipment on desks somewhat raises the cost of a desk quite significantly.
Totally. Yeah.
So you got to have good value, of what
Yeah.
you do in order to justify these costs.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Um, what, in your opinion, if people are looking at solutions for room?
So you got muted by
Oh, there we
accident.
go. Sorry. In your opinion, if people are looking, end users are looking, or integrators are looking at kind of evaluating a bunch of
Solutions.
solutions, what
Yeah.
should their, say, the top 3 questions be when you're evaluating a solution?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the top one in our mind is how this will benefit the end user.
Yep.
Okay. Now you could say, oh yeah, they'll see what's going on. Well, we think it's superficial answer. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to go deeper.
Dig a bit
You need
deeper.
to Yeah, you need to dig deeper into their requirements and not be shy to ask significant questions. You know,
Mm,
you could say, do you have problems? I mean, do people book meeting rooms and don't show up? Okay, how do you handle that? Well, we given up on that. We know that some
right.
people always, well, don't give up on that. Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of dialogue. So I would say the first thing is get closer to your end user. Show that you care about their business and understand it. Yeah, now you don't have to go to the nth degree here, but have a good understanding is important. And then the next thing is, can you implement their requirements in the software that you want to propose without programming, for example?
Right.
Can you implement all their business rules in a way that very accurately match what they need for their business? Okay. And then you could say, okay, now let's take it further. Can you, for example, implement their brand identity? Can you
Yeah.
change the screens or the endpoints so it don't have to be the 10-inch screens, also the wayfinders and even the desk ones, okay, so that people can connect with the solution because these are
Yep.
very visual
Yeah.
solutions. People see them. They walk in the corridor, they come into the building, they see it all over the place. You want people to connect with the system, be, if you like, emotionally connected. And sometimes it can
Mm,
be achieved quite easily. Just, place your logo in there, Oh, yeah, that's our solution now. It's not somebody else's solution.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and of course, all the things that I've listed here, that's bread and butter for us.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. Of
we
course.
do it all the time,
Yeah.
and we can implement pretty much any kind of business rule that you can throw at a system.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the coffee, by the way.
Not yet.
I have to.
Maybe that's in the future.
I had to make it myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking coffee too, and it's quarter
There
to
you
10 at
go.
night.
There you go.
Just
Even
just
and you
just
managed to do
decaf.
it without Door Tablet. What do you
Yeah, yeah.
know?
Do you think people in general are kind of afraid to ask questions because they think they're going to look silly? And then that's when you go down the road of something's installed and it's actually not what the customer wants because you didn't ask the questions. And I have a specific time in my sales career when I didn't ask the correct questions and I lost the sale. And I think about it every single week. And it happened like 8 years ago. Do you think that happens a lot for
I think
sales
it. I
reps
think
and integrators?
I think it does. Let me tell you a quick story. We have ported our software to work on top of the platform used by JLL. I don't know if you heard about this company, JLL. JLL is I can't pronounce the company name, but that's the acronyms, right?
Right. Okay. I
JLL.
think I think so. Yeah.
They're one of the big four. They're called one of the big four in terms of building managements.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, they're
Yeah.
one of the big global. So pretty much in any kind of Western, and not only so even in China, from what I understand, in Shanghai, if you look around, probably half of the skyscrapers are managed by JLL.
Okay.
So um, so JLL, they're starting a new business model where they're offering shared spaces inside the JLL buildings.
Okay.
And we've been recently working with a one of the buildings in the US for JLL that they bought the hardware without actually even finding out what software we're going to run on that. And it's interesting, they bought the hardware based purely on reputation. It's
Yeah.
not Qbic as it happens, but
Yeah.
it's a different world. Okay. Um, and it was remarkable. They bought hardware not knowing if they're gonna have software that will interact with their scheduling platform, which is not your standard one. It's not a Microsoft 365 or Exchange or any of that.
Yeah.
As it happens, we provided them with that solution because we did port our software to that specialized platform, and we do run on that hardware platform.
Right.
Okay, but it was quite eye-opening how people actually bought a solution. First of all, they assumed that, oh yeah, it's going to be okay because it's such a big name,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
must be okay.
Must be fine. Yeah.
And in fact, once they did find us because they realized that the screens were dark and they could not get them to work. They found us, um, and even in talking to us, we realized that there are some things we need to develop. Yes, remarkable. Yeah, we need to develop some extra stuff. Why?
Yeah.
Because in their situation, it's shared environment, and they wanted to control which tenant book the meeting room.
Right. Okay.
So you're getting into different paradigms. So these are not the same
Yeah.
people in the same organization. It's
No.
multiple organization,
In
and
the
you need
same
to
building. Right.
in the same building, and you have to you have to identify the tenants, etc., etc., which is great because this is the sort of things that we can do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
we
Perfectly.
we
Yeah.
we with our software, but it emerged because somebody finally asked the questions: do we need to identify the tenants?
Mm.
And they even we said, well, not unless we make a small modification, okay, and we're doing it. So yes, people generally don't ask the question, and I gave you an extreme example of people buying things pretty much with their eyes closed.
Yeah. I mean, I know there are a lot of kind of differences in technology in general. As I was talking to one of my colleagues today, and he reckons it takes 5 years for technology to get from Europe down to Australasia.
Right.
But I think in general that happens a lot here too. People will buy something because it's brand X or brand Y or that company has it, and they're not actually paying attention to their own specific needs And that's a
Yeah,
perfect use case right there. They bought something because they thought it was what they needed, but it actually,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
in this
yeah.
case it's
Actually,
worked.
we
But yeah,
yeah we know of a situation just like this at the moment, without actually mentioning too many names. A company told us that they bought a piece of kit from a brand that everybody knows.
yeah,
They made a lot of assumptions, and they're now open enough to say that they hate it. Why
wow,
did they hate it? Because it just doesn't do some of the things that they thought it would do.
that it would or should. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And
yeah,
of course, when they came to us then at IC and they said, well, yours does it. Okay.
yeah,
Well, it's a challenge for them, because the investment hasn't been capitalized yet, and it's a problem,
yeah,
and they'll have to come to terms with it, or just basically cut the losses and move
yeah.
forward.
Go again. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So it happens.
Mm. Okay. I know we've gone way, way longer than I wanted to, but it is. I've genuinely really enjoyed talking to you because it's clear how passionate you are and how knowledgeable you are about all this stuff. But I've got one more question, and it's a simple one. Would you recommend using Qbic hardware to integrators?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, we would recommend this because we know it works. We know that if there is a problem, you can get this resolved swiftly. And they're also nice people. So, why not? Okay.
Yeah,
One thing I would like to mention, if I may, um, in order to better understand what guides us, okay, in our development, I would recommend your viewers to go and read our blog. Okay, if you
yeah,
go
cool.
to door-tablet.com, so door-sign tablet.com,
Yep,
and actually right there at the top menu, there's a word that says blog. If you
yep,
click on that, you'll see quite a lot of articles that we put together. Um, they are what guide us in the development of the product. And I think you'll find some of the things interesting because it's not exclusively product driven, but it's also how you can reorganize or re-engineer your organization to make better use of your investments
cool.
in workplace infrastructure.
Yeah, what a cool resource. Awesome. Thank you. We'll definitely pop that
Yeah,
in for people to
yeah,
read.
it's
Yeah,
it's it's there's some good stuff there. I recommend
yeah,
it.
awesome. Cool.
Jamie, I'd like to thank you also for the opportunity to talk to you about this subject. And needless to say, we're very excited about our collaboration.
Mm,
And I'm pretty sure it's going to be exciting and
yeah,
rewarding.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Um, and also, we wanted to wish you good luck in your return to AV.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and we'll
Excellent.
definitely be talking again soon. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, Avi, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, pleasure,
Cool.
Jamie. You have a good
Thanks,
day.
mate.
Oh, good night. Bye
Yeah.
now.